Hey, all you yuckers and yummers out there. My name's Courtney.
And I'm Carlito.
And if you enjoy listening to Newlyweds Argue, then this podcast is for you.
Well, more specifically, we'll be discussing movies, books, or certain comics that one enjoys and tries to introduce the other to it.
And then find out the verdict of whether they yuck it or yum it.
You can listen to us currently on Anchor.fm and Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hope you have fun listening to our podcast, Don't Yuck My Yum.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the podcast. Again, I'm your host, Carlito.
And I'm Courtney.
How's it going, everybody? We're just going to check in here. How you doing, babe?
Yeah, I'm doing great. You want to know why?
Why? Oh, I know why.
Yeah?
You got fired.
No!
Yeah, she got fired from her job.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, they were like,
don't need you.
not clocking in on time. Her work ethic's down.
You're not answering any calls.
She's
what are you
not
doing?
Trying. She talks back to the customers.
That's not true at all.
Just hangs up on them.
Everybody's gonna think I'm a bad worker now.
Wait, no, you're not.
No. Today was my last day of the job that I was working.
Yeah, she quit to do this full time. No.
Not quite. Doesn't exactly pay the bills.
No.
Not yet, anyway.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Hey, dreamers gonna dream.
Yeah. That'd be great.
Yeah.
I could do this 24/7 if this paid for our bills.
Sure. One
But-
day, maybe.
Yeah, that'd
But
be
no,
awesome.
but for anyone who doesn't know, and we might actually do maybe an episode where we just talk about us, about our story, and get to know us. But brief synopsis is the job that I was currently doing was kind of those jobs you have to do because we have to, because of COVID, we lost our previous jobs. So in order to make money and actually be able to survive in the meantime, had to do a job didn't want to do, hated it. And today, I returned all my stuff. I let it all go, and it was the best feeling ever.
You slammed it back into the office.
I did.
Slammed it on the front desk.
Take it.
I'm done.
Take it back. I don't want it.
Well,
Any of it.
sorry, I was letting you finish.
Thank you.
I was like, I interrupted her mid-quote.
Terminator.
Is that what? Oh, yeah, Terminator. I don't want it. Any of it.
Well, I don't want this honor.
I find it so funny that you can quote that movie. Out of all movies, you quote that movie.
It's a good movie.
I know, but it's a great movie, but it's like, I can't believe you like that movie.
Why? Because it's not girly?
Well, it's violent. Because the track record on the podcast is you don't like violence. And that's a very violent movie.
Yeah.
I think it holds dear to you because... Well, didn't your parents go see it, on a date?
They did. Yeah, my parents saw it in theaters when it came out. And funny enough, it was my mom's suggestion to go see it.
Did we say what movie we're talking about?
We're getting there.
Okay. No, I mean, the movie we're currently talking about.
Yeah, I said Terminator.
You said Terminator. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to make sure.
I thought you meant the podcast movie.
No, I didn't want people to get, lost. They're like, what movie are they talking
No, I said
about?
Terminator.
Okay.
And then you were like, oh, yeah, you quoted that.
Right.
Yeah. See, he's so old. He's forgetting already.
I forget things after 5 seconds.
Yeah. Your birthday's coming up and you're already forgetting things.
I'm going to be 42.
42.
I feel 42. My brain feels 42 after this last year.
Yeah.
Well,
I think we've all aged after this last year.
We all aged 5 years within the last year. It's like when you become president. It's like the president, you can tell he physically looks 20 years older after 4 years.
4 years.
Yeah.
It says a lot.
So I don't know if Biden's going to make it.
I don't think anybody in their right mind willingly wants that job.
Biden's already old and he already looks old. I can't imagine what he's going to look like after 40 years. He's going to look like Harvey Weinstein when they were taking him to jail, but he has a walker now.
Oh.
Biden's going to be doing his last speech and he's going to get the walker out and it's it really did a number on him. Anyway, I'll fill him in. So yeah, you're going back to your old job.
Yes.
I'm in the same position, except I still have to work till next week.
Yeah.
Till the middle of next week. So yeah. But hey, you're done.
I'm done.
You don't have to get up super early anymore.
No, I had to wake up at 4:45 every day, Monday through Friday, for a job I
hated.
Which you originally didn't do when you started. You
No.
took that shift.
Yeah, there was 2 shifts, like an AM shift or a PM shift, and the PM shift, obviously, I didn't get done until 5 o'clock. The AM shift got me done at 1:30, so, and we were planning a wedding.
Right. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
You took that shift so that you could do wedding stuff the rest of the day.
Yes, because by the time I got off at 5, it was dinner time, and then it was bedtime.
Yeah.
And
there wasn't enough time to do anything.
It wasn't, no. Because the weekends, that was the thing, I just felt so busy all the time, because then the weekends were filled with doing things for the wedding, and I had no time to do anything else.
Which is crazy to think that it took so much time to plan our wedding, and our wedding wasn't even, like, that big compared to what most people plan.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what they got to go through.
Well, ours was actually pretty quick. Like, we had a short engagement. Like, our engagement was only 6 months.
It was a quick turnaround.
Yeah. Which, that's short for most people. Most people plan maybe 10 months to a year, sometimes more. I can't imagine that.
Well, I feel like we just wanted to get it out of the way. Because it's like, how long can
you make that sound so terrible.
Well, like, how long can you be engaged? Or people are like, oh, when's the date? When's it happening? Like, how many times? I would have lost my crap if I would have heard that question over the course of, like, a year. I would have been like, can we just do it already? So I can just be like, yeah, we're married. Quit asking me about it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think I was just ready. I was just so excited. I just didn't want to have a long engagement. There's no need.
You just want to be married to me, babe?
Yeah.
Aww.
I don't know why I thought that.
I know. I don't know either.
What was I thinking?
I know. All the guys.
No, there really wasn't any. You were the only one.
You say I was the one that was brave enough?
Sure. Yeah, that's what I would like to think. Mom always said boys are just intimidated by you.
That's what my mom used to say.
Boys are intimidated by you?
Yeah, boys are intimidated by you.
Yeah, totally.
I'm like, what does that even mean? They're intimidated by me.
It means that we're just that impressive.
We're that awesome.
We're that awesome that people are just intimidated by us. They're just in awe. They're like, oh, I couldn't ever talk to them.
No. I think that's just a very nice mom thing to say.
It's a mom thing to say to make their child feel better that they're alone.
That they're alone and have friends. Well, I'm glad we're alone together. This is great.
Yeah. That's what we signed up for.
This is what we do in the meantime.
To be alone together.
Yeah. That's why we do this podcast.
Yeah, that's why
to share our loneliness with everybody.
Yeah. We're actually very happy people.
Yeah. Don't let us fool you.
Don't let us fool you.
Yeah.
No.
Which, I don't know. This is probably a bad segue.
What?
I was just gonna say, speaking of like lonely people.
Oh, that's true. the main character of this film.
Something I didn't realize about her.
Yes, very lonely.
Mm-hmm.
So we are talking about Roman Holiday, babe.
Mm-hmm. I had no idea this movie existed until. No, I don't know much about Audrey Hepburn.
Yeah, I love the classics. That's my jam. That is my bread and butter.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been, I think, educating you on all the classics, and then you've been educating me on, like, the pop culture movies.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, because we weren't sure what we were going to do for the next episode, and you wanted to watch that, which we're going to kind of touch upon here as well, that Audrey, it's called Audrey, but it's a new documentary on Netflix about Audrey Hepburn's life from her childhood all the way to her death.
Yes.
And, obviously there's the middle section of it where it talks about all the movies she did. And Roman Holiday was the first leading role she had, and she won an Oscar and all this. It was kind of like that was her...
that was her introduction.
That was her big break.
Yeah, that was her being introduced to the Hollywood world. Mm-hmm. This main leading role, along with, Gregory Peck.
The great Gregory Peck.
The great Gregory.
Which, to be clear, this actually wasn't her first movie she was in, but this was her first leading role. Yes. Before then, she had been, like, bit parts.
Yeah, like side parts that she had always fascinated me. I think I got the Audrey bug, I think like most people, after seeing her in Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Yeah. That
was probably the first film I saw of her. And it touches upon in this documentary that we watch is she just she had this, like,
charm.
Yeah, she was very charming. She was just like a lovely in person.
She was like her own thing, because it was like she had like this mixture of like charm plus adorableness,
very
plus
smart,
talent, intelligence. I mean, but it was like like a lot of people can have those attributions, but they can come off dull. Like she just, I don't know. It was like she just shined.
Yeah, and in the time that she kind of was this up and coming star, she was very different than who Hollywood's leading ladies were at the time. She wasn't the big blonde bombshell like Marilyn Monroe. She's quite the opposite of Marilyn. And, or Elizabeth Taylor, or, all the women who, it was all sex appeal. Yeah,
because coming from a guy's point of view, like you think about those women, like they were very curvy, voluptuous type women, and that was obviously like the thing Hollywood, I think, was going for, like get the sexiest women, sex sells, all that stuff. Yeah. Marilyn Monroe had posed for Playboy, and then here's Audrey Hepburn, thin as a rail, but cute as a button. And she just, everything I said, she just had that thing about her.
Yeah, she had these big brown doe eyes that just drew you in. She was, she was slender. She was a ballerina. Like, that's what she wanted to be. That was her dream, was to be
that's right.
a ballerina. So she had the slim dancer's bodies. She had, proper poise and, just the way she held herself and her structure and everything. I think there was an elegance and a matureness to her at a very young age. Yeah. And I think that's what kind of allowed her to be recognized.
Definitely.
But yeah, I think for this subject with Roman Holiday, she just shined in this movie. I think she had a mix of quirky humor, like she kind of flourished her little comedic chops a little bit, but then she also had a depth and a dramaticism to her acting, and with her like serious moments, or if she's she really portrayed the sorrow, I think, well in her face when she was acting in these sadder scenes. And I think she pulled a lot of that from her own life, because her life was actually very tragic.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, do you want to talk about the movie first and then talk about her life?
Yeah. It might mix in a little bit.
Yeah, it probably will.
But yeah, we could... if we want to bring it back to Roman Holiday, for those who haven't seen, it's about Audrey Hepburn, who plays Princess Anne. She is
a princess of something.
Yeah.
I'll just say
she's a princess of somewhere.
Because they don't. Yeah, they don't actually make it clear where she's from. They just say Princess Anne of. Well, at one point they actually.
It was a radio, right?
It was the Gregory Peck's boss even says like, oh, the princess of a country that. Oh yeah, no, it's a radio. It says like the princess of a country that we shall not name, or.
Well, that was the boss did say, like, of the country which shall not be named, because it was supposed to be, like, secretive.
It's a secret country.
And then, like, there was a radio station where it was... Yeah. It was announcing, like, she was it missing or just sick or something?
She was sick. Yeah, they said she
said that she was sick.
She's terribly sick.
Her people of her country is very concerned. So they never said what country she's from, just that she's a princess.
Yeah, that's just the general idea. You get the idea, like, she's a princess.
Probably a European princess.
Yeah, and the plot is, like, she's a princess, and she's stuck in, like, the structure of, like, that life she has to live. Like, she's constantly having to go meet with people.
Yeah, a lot of press releases, so to speak. Like, she's, so they're on this world tour. So she's been traveling, and then she's in Rome right now. And she just can't take it anymore. She cracks. She can't take the schedule and the strict lifestyle she's in and what she's expected to do. Like, she just wants to be free and do the things she wants to do.
Right, because the lady who's, like, listing off the schedule as she's saying, like, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, and someone's going to offer you this, and she goes, which I'll accept, and she said, which you won't accept. And so she's like, repeating back, like, what she should say, what she's going to do, and then she just cracks.
Thank you. No, thank you. Yeah. Charmed. How, like, she just, like,
She's
it's the same routine, the same thing every day, and she just flips. She's like, I can't take this. It's like, stop talking.
Well, it's more of like, she's like, I can't stop it.
Yeah.
Which is like, to me, it's like that classic, which again, Audrey Hepburn, she's amazing.
Yeah.
But like that classic
it's a little over.
Hollywood acting, where it's like so over dramatic, so overdone. But again, I think it was like, that was the appeal of most films back then, because it's very minimal of like everything you could capture on screen.
Yeah.
So the actors kind of had to have a big performance. There wasn't as big of a line, I'd say, between doing like film acting, which is more subtle, than compared to like theater acting, which she was a theater actress.
Was in theater, yeah.
So anyone who works in theater knows that like when you're acting in theater, you kind of have to overdo the emotions, because you have to convey these emotions to hundreds to potentially 1,000 people at once.
Yeah.
Where a movie is like, you can pick up on all the subtleties because you can have close-ups and everything. You can't do that in theater.
Yeah. And this movie didn't have a big Hollywood budget. Like, it was filmed in black and white as opposed to Technicolor, which it could have, but they didn't have the funds to do that.
Right, because the director wanted them to film. He wanted to film in Italy.
Yeah,
like it has to be shot on location.
Yeah, that was important to him. He's like, he wanted it fully filmed on location. He didn't want it filmed in Hollywood. It had to be in Rome. So go ahead.
Yeah, well, because of that, they cut the budget, which then that is why it was actually in black and white.
Yes.
It could have been in Technicolor if they had filmed it, say, in Hollywood.
Yeah.
But he didn't want that.
Yeah.
But I think that's okay, because it kind of, again, I think black and white, I don't have a problem with watching black and white movies.
No, I don't either. I know some people, I think most people nowadays, they just can't get behind it.
Again, they're wrong.
But you're wrong, but give it a chance. But yeah, and also with that, it was the same kind of deal. It's like, okay, if you want it in location, then it can't be in black and white, and you have to find some unknown actress. It can't be some big time actress, because we can't afford her, pretty much.
So they could, how much did they pay her?
I don't know. I don't know that off the top of my head.
Okay, but they probably didn't have to pay her as much as they have to pay
like
Marilyn
say,
Monroe
or Katharine Hepburn.
Or Katharine Hepburn. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's kind of where then they went to search for an unknown actress, and how Audrey was able to get the role.
Right.
Is because of that, which then
good lucky break for her.
A lucky break. So then, so she's had enough. She wants to get out. She wants to just enjoy a day in her life. And so, because she had her meltdown, they call in the doctor, and the doctor's like, I'll give you something to make you happy.
I'll give you some drugs. Literally takes out a needle of I don't know what. He's
some
just like,
sleeping drug.
Oh, it's a new narcotic. It's fine.
Yeah,
and
it's totally fine.
Then everyone's like, okay, cool. Like everyone in the room's like, yeah, shoot her up, relax, calm her down. We can't handle it. So just sticks the needle in her.
Yeah.
And
which it doesn't start right away. It doesn't get her right away. It's not like an instant sleep. It kind of is a buildup, but it gives her enough time to where she's like, you know what? I'm sneaking out.
Yeah.
So then she sneaks out of the embassy where she's staying and just jumps into this delivery truck.
Yeah, it was because what was in the back of his truck?
It was like
milk cartons.
Yeah,
and
bottles and maybe a
just
bag
random things.
of potatoes. I don't know.
Yeah, it was just a bunch of random stuff.
Yeah, so she hides in there and it just escapes, and then she just is seen roam as like anybody else would, not these grand, balls or press conferences or, speeches.
And just having to say I love Rome, it's great, but not really getting to experience it.
Yeah.
And she's not wearing anything flashy. She
just normal clothes.
But you pick her out, she just, I don't know, she's Audrey Hepburn, she stands out. But, she's not trying to attract attention. She's just going out to see what she can get into. Yeah. Which I don't think she meant to be out for that long.
No, she even said she's only meant to be out maybe an hour or two, right. And then she was...
Are we still recording, by the way? I just want to make sure. I get nervous recording on this phone still. Okay. I'm so afraid it's going to kick off at any point, and then we're going to have to start all over again.
Yeah.
Okay, we're good. But yeah, she just wants to go out there, experience it for herself, and just kind of get a feel for it. Yeah. Which I feel like going to Rome back then be a lot nicer than going to Rome now. I just feel like going to Rome nowadays is crazy hectic.
Probably. Maybe not right now.
Maybe not right now, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah.
Before.
Yeah. So then that's kind of how she runs into Gregory Peck's
What's his name again?
Joe Bradley.
I love these like old movies. Like they're such like American names.
Yeah.
Joe Bradley.
Yeah.
Good old American news reporter man telling you the news that you want to hear of America, but he's in Rome, so I don't know. But yeah, she again she took the sleeping drug.
Yeah.
They injected her.
They gave her the sleeping drug.
They forcefully inject her with a sleeping drug.
She didn't fight it though. She just goes, "What's that?"
Yeah.
He's like, "It's just to help you sleep.
It's fine.
It's fine." She's like, "Okay."
Yeah, and she falls asleep on a bench somewhere, and he finds her after losing at cards.
Yeah, like he was with the boys gambling, leaves, and because he's supposed to interview her the next day.
He's legitimately supposed to interview the princess.
Yeah, he's supposed to interview the princess the next day. So then he goes to walk home pretty much, and then he comes across her sleeping on a bench in public, and he sees her. It's like, why is this young girl asleep on the bench? Yeah. And she's kind of mumbling to herself, and then he realizes, I can't really leave her here. So they have funny moments of her. It's I could compare it to like a drunk scene because she's.
It's pretty much what it is, yeah. Trying to help your drunk friend home.
Yeah.
And he's trying to banter with the taxi driver of like, take her wherever. But he gets her in the cab, takes her back to his place, and then he's telling the cabbie, like, take her when she wakes up, and he's just like, no, I don't want to deal with her. Yeah. But he's like, Gregory Peck's like, well, I don't want to deal with her. But at this point, he doesn't know that she's the princess. He just assumes it's just some girl he's trying to help out.
Yeah, he's never seen the princess, I don't think he knows what she looks like.
Because we don't have social media back then, so it's not like you can just pull up Princess Anne, Anya.
Yeah. Well, that's what he's like, what do I call you? And he's like, oh, you can call me Anya. Mm-hmm. Which I kind of thought was funny because Anastasia,
I was thinking the same thing.
They called her Anya.
Yeah.
I'm sure that hadn't really had a relations, but I'm just like, oh, they're both princesses.
No. Well, at this point, I think Anastasia was... Well, there was still the rumor that she was alive, but I think...
In the 50s?
I think that was always like a thing that the Romanov... This is off subject, but the Romanov family in Russia, they were all executed.
Yeah, they were.
Anastasia didn't get away, but it was always like a rumor that she did get away, and that's kind of what that story's based from. But anyway, Anya, Audrey Hepburn's character, gets back to his place, and
he just takes her to his place because he's like, well, I can't leave her there, and I don't know where she lives. Mm-hmm. Well, he'd ask her, and she's like, the Colosseum.
Right.
And he's like, well, that's
the Colosseum. I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
I love the relationship between them because I thought like the movie I thought like the two actors they worked really well off of each other. They did. Yeah, because he was like, because we even looked up like he wanted to do a comedy film at this point.
Yeah, I think he had done a lot of dramas and serious roles that he wanted something different. He
has a good comedic chops.
He does.
I thought something I just thought of this, something that was interesting. It seemed like they almost like set up this thing where he's very frivolous with money. Because at the beginning, he's playing cards and he throws all his stuff in and then he loses, so he only has this amount of money left. And then throughout the movie, when he's hanging out with her, he's always like constantly have to like borrow a buck here, do this here. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was interesting how they set that up with him. Whereas like she's a princess, she doesn't need to worry about that kind of stuff.
That money, yeah.
Where it's like he doesn't really have much, but he's, of course he's fine with just kind of giving it away, and he's always having to borrow and all this. So she's kind of showing the differences between the two that way.
Yeah. Well, I think he had to like entertain her to keep her around. Mm-hmm. And so that's why he's like, well, yeah, let's do this, let's do that.
Well, yeah, because they go to breakfast and she's like, champagne. And he's like, oh, okay, champagne.
He's like, okay.
And he ordered a cold coffee.
I think it's funny because I think we would call it iced coffee.
Yeah.
But he just says cold coffee.
Right. But it didn't seem to be on ice, and I'm assuming it wasn't cold brew. I don't think they would have had that fancy schmancy stuff back then.
Maybe, I don't know, in the 50s they had ice boxes, didn't they?
Yes, yeah, they had ice boxes.
So you stick the glass in the ice box and you take it out and you pour the coffee in there. Or...
I'm sorry, but your mama and my pap call it the icebox.
Well, that's why I called it icebox.
Yeah.
So I think at the time that's what they would call it.
That's hilarious.
Not like the freezer, because
Yeah.
they wouldn't have a freezer.
For anyone who listens to this is over the age of 80, yeah, that's what we mean. The modern days, we call that a freezer, but I know y'all still call it an icebox. It's cute, though.
Because I'm sure people over 80 are listening to this.
You never know.
You never know.
But, yeah, I really enjoyed them together.
Yeah. Yeah, long story short, throughout the film, he ends up figuring out that she is the princess.
Mm-hmm. Through because he's supposed to interview her, and she's sleeping at his place, and he sleeps in, and his boss is like, "Oh, you interviewed the princess. How'd it go?" And there's
like
this.
Yep, I did.
There's a great, funny little scene where he's like, "Oh, what was she wearing?" And trying to coax him into was she wearing the gray thing with the gold? And Gregor Peck's like, "Oh yeah, that's what she was wearing." Mm-hmm. What does she feel about this and this subject on the world?
He's very
she said
general.
It was fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
She thinks it's all fine. Oh, okay, fine. And well, it turns out that in the newspaper it says the princess is sick, but really she was missing. And he has her at her place. Well, then he decides because his boss tells him an interview with the princess that'd be worth a lot of money. Like a one-on-one exclusive. Yeah. So he realizes I can make a lot of money. So he kind of tricks her into thinking he's taking her around and showing her Rome for the day, mm-hmm. when really he's kind of picking up on the things she does, and he has his friend with him who we'll get into takes pictures of her and all this, and he's gonna he's gonna write this story about the princess being in Rome for a day. Yeah, unsupervised, just doing what would she do, mm-hmm. and then just probably publishing it. And I always assume probably breaking her heart.
Yeah, I mean, because she has no idea what he's doing, mm-hmm. and doesn't realize that he knows who she is, and that he's pretty much using her in a way.
He is, yeah,
yeah, because he's using her to make $5,000, mm-hmm. which in today's world would be a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
In 2015, that amount, $5,000, would have been $44,000. So in his mind, that's buco monies.
Yeah, that's a lot of money for him.
So, yeah.
A lot of money he could throw away on cards and stuff.
So, yeah, it's pretty much this grand adventure of him showing her around and doing the things she wants to do, and her just living life and enjoying Rome, and then him getting to know her, and then over the course of it, you can tell they're falling for each other. So then,
as you would
in Rome, ride around on a Vespa.
Well, in all Hollywood movies back in the day, you could call that from the beginning. Okay, let me guess. They're going to fall in love.
Yes.
But they're not going to be able to be together because she's a princess.
Yeah.
But they don't really go into that because...
yeah.
Well, because he knows that she's the princess.
Yeah.
But she never tells him that.
No, but it's always this understanding.
Yeah, and he never says, I know you're the princess.
Yeah.
He never says that. He just lets it go.
Yeah.
But she never knows what he really is. She doesn't know that he's a reporter.
Not until the end.
Not until the end, yeah. But what does he say he is? He's a salesman. He sells chemicals.
Yeah. Just a general thing.
I sell chemicals.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I just I'll say a lot of stuff I liked about it. I enjoyed a lot of just Audrey Hepburn just being Audrey Hepburn.
Yeah.
Just her
experiencing new things.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm a girl like her, the way her personality, I'm that's the best place to put her in is when mm-hmm. she's just out there just exploring new things, and and it was very surprising, I thought, because I think I have a theory that Audrey Hepburn's the prototype for which I think is kind of blown out nowadays, they have a term for it in movies nowadays, but it's the something pixie girl or something, the dream pixie girl or something. You know what I'm talking about?
That sounds familiar.
It's like the character from that movie where Summer, what was it? Summer or something? I know Summer.
Oh.
The 100 Days of Summer. 101 Days of Summer. Is that the name of it?
No.
What's the name of that movie?
I know you're with Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Zooey Deschanel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
But a character like that, where she's very flighty and stuff, and she just kind of wants to do her own thing, which is I almost is like what I expected, but I like that she kind of had more of like her head on her shoulders, like she knew like, oh, I just can't
Manic pixie dream girl.
Thank you. Yeah. I might be wrong, but I just have a feeling like Audrey Hepburn's look, I feel like is almost what inspired that. But then I think it's probably blown out into something ridiculous now.
Yeah. I don't know if she's really a manic pixie dream girl.
That's the thing. She's not.
Yeah.
She kind of looks like one because she is very like adorable and cute, but I don't.
But she has so much more depth to her.
Yeah, she's much more mature than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I wouldn't be surprised if some independent filmmaker was like, "What else started with Audrey Hepburn?" or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like watching her like she just goes and buys gelato, or then she goes and gets her hair cut. Which was that a wig? Was that a wig that she was wearing?
I always thought her long hair in the film, like at the beginning before she gets the haircut, was a wig, and then her short hair was her real hair. Okay.
I don't know. I looked very convincing.
I know.
But I think because it was in black and white, so it can hide a lot of stuff.
True.
So I don't know. But I really thought, like, I wouldn't be surprised if Audrey Hepburn actually got her haircut for the movie.
It's possible.
Because
I think
something she'd do.
From the footage of her accepting the award, I think her hair is that short. Mm-hmm. So I think that was like, I think that's her real hair. Right. Yeah. But yeah, just her just going around enjoying life. Yeah, because she's just naive about the world. Mm-hmm. She's not in it. She's just, coasting along as this figure. Mm-hmm. Which I always thought, like, what could that do to a person, Probably that, you know, just one day you're just like, because, like, who knows you, Like, no one knows the real you. You can't be what you want to be. You have to put on this air or this way about you and, be this symbol and, do what you're expected to do. Right. Which is almost like kind of parallels like Audrey Hepburn, I'd say, in reality. Yeah. Because obviously, like, she was an icon. Yeah. But a lot of people didn't really know who she was. A lot of the hurt that she probably... It probably sounded like my voice cracked because I'm crying, but I had something in my throat. The hurt she went through. But yeah, just like, because, okay, talk about the documentary. Yeah, so I think you could really compare Princess Anne to who Audrey Hepburn's life and who she was, because she did lead a very tragic life. Like, she was born and, in Europe during the time where, Hitler was at large and the Nazis were taking over, and, she was in, I think it was London at the time, wasn't it? But she would put notes in her shoes to take between, what was it, babe? It was like passing these notes to the... Was it to, like, the uprising people? I think so. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't think she would have been living in London at that point, because London didn't get Nazi occupied. Okay, maybe was it... No, it was wherever she moved after that. Yeah. But it was like this whole thing of like her father abandoned them to join the Nazi regime. Yeah. And I think her mom was into it as well. Like, she wrote articles about it in news. Like, you can look up articles written by her mother, like praising the Nazis and all this stuff, which I find bizarre. Yeah, her father left the family, walked out of the family when she was young. Her mother wasn't loving, like, she was very critical, didn't really have much nice things to say, so she never felt loved. She never got, that's kind of the bottom line. That's bottom line. She never felt loved. She never got the love from the people in her life that she needed it the most. So, in a time in her life when you're a child. Yeah. Which, if you don't have, like, those core things when you're a kid, like being loved and being cared for, that can screw you up forever. Yeah. And you'll have issues with that the rest of your life. Of course. And so for her growing up, I think she turned to entertainment, she turned to dance, to ballet, to kind of just bring hope and something good out of the situation that she was in. She like when they were like hiding in bunkers and stuff, like she would put on shows just to But no one could clap after her performances because you had to be quiet. Cause otherwise, the Nazis will find you. Mm-hmm. So it was a very traumatic thing, and she could remember, V-Day and when everybody was liberated and everything. And
I thought that was so eerie when they said that no one could clap.
Yeah.
It almost made me think man, it was a great documentary, but I think, man, this would be a great movie to show a young Audrey Hepburn doing a big performance or something for people, and then just silence. Then there's just silence, and then it's just whoa, why aren't they clapping? And then kind of explain it. Mm-hmm. But I was man, that's so eerie. It's so accurate to the time of how you had to hide and
I don't think any of us can fully understand that time.
No, I don't think so.
Anybody
either.
who was going through that time.
No. We're humanity right now, we're having a hard time dealing with the pandemic, and I can't imagine what it would be if something like that were to happen now.
Yeah.
Where it's our way of life right now has been taken away because we can't really be as social as we used to be. It's and back then they couldn't do anything.
Nothing.
Everything that they loved was taken away because they were told that it was wrong.
Exactly. And so when all she wanted to do was be a ballerina, so she was able to start getting herself out there and getting into performances, but she ultimately couldn't fulfill that professional ballerina dream.
No, why was that?
If I remember correctly, it was she it was either she wasn't tall enough or she had an injury,
something like
that. She just wasn't quite enough,
right? Because I think to be a ballerina, there's all these particulars, and I guess she didn't have all that.
Yeah.
Which is crushing because I feel when people want to be ballerinas, they really want it, and then if you can't,
have to really want it because it's grueling.
It's which I never would have. You never would think because ballerinas are so dainty, but really, it's no, it sucks.
It's
being a ballerina.
The training.
I don't know why anyone wants to do that.
Yeah,
it's my dream. I'm is your dream to be in pain the rest of your life? I don't understand.
Yeah. So, but then she was able to be in movies and theater, and then eventually got recognized to be the role in Roman Holiday, which then led her to star in other films then.
Which probably a lot of people know about.
Yeah.
I've seen Breakfast at Tiffany's, but I think probably what led me to not wanting to do more. I don't know. I just didn't watch any more Audrey Hepburn films after I saw it. It might have been her character. Because her character in that movie is kind of annoying to me.
It's very opposite of who she is.
Yeah, and I was just I can't do that. But yeah, after seeing her in this, I'm she definitely has range. She can do anything.
Yeah, and then, because then she did Sabrina, War and Peace, Funny Face.
I haven't seen any of these.
She continued on to do a lot of things, and then
she gave it all up because
My Fair Lady had... Yeah.
She wanted to raise her child.
She wanted to raise her kids. Yeah. So she...
Which I think is noble.
Yeah. And then, the documentary shows kind of I think she was always searching for that love that she never got from her family, specifically her dad.
Yeah.
So I think it was kind of one of those sad stories where she tried to find it in her partners and husband and didn't get it.
Yeah. Yeah, because there was always issues with that. Her first husband was very controlling, and that kind of... They butted heads a lot, I think, because they worked together.
They worked together. Producer. Yeah, I think they were both very... I think they connected on that level of working and, understanding each other's work in that way. And that, had her first son out of that marriage. But then, ultimately it didn't work out. And then she got a second marriage to an Italian man, lived in Rome for a long time.
Rome, of all places.
Of all places, yeah.
Which is, that's so... horribly ironic that it's she does this movie that makes her career where they filmed it all in Rome, and then when she goes back to Rome and marries this doctor guy, her experience is horrible because this guy cheats on her.
Oh, yeah.
How could you cheat on Audrey Hepburn?
Yeah, in the documentary, I think they literally said
he had been photographed with at least 200 women. Jeez. Like, that is just disgusting.
But he was a doctor.
He was.
And I think, like, he had a high part in society over there. So I think it was like he had a lot of women probably coming up to him. Mm-hmm. And obviously being a frivolous Italian man back in those days, he just couldn't help himself.
Yeah.
Which is just like the culture over there of like guys back in the day. So yeah, I just find that that's just so sad that it's like comparing this to the movie that made her career, and then when she goes back to Rome, it's like a horrible experience because then people would, you know, she didn't want to go outside because the paparazzi would ask about it, and to the point where like she had her friends, like she would go into a store, and someone at the store would be like, "Is that Audrey Hepburn?"
And
her friend had
like,
to be like,
"No."
Yeah, she would literally be like, "No, it's not Audrey Hepburn. She just looks like Audrey Hepburn."
She just looks like her.
And then the people would be like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I'm mistaken.
Yeah.
Even though a lot of people probably don't look like Audrey Hepburn.
No, because she just had a distinct look. But yeah. So then, I think going back to her character with Anne, I think she could resonate with Anne because I think she just wanted to be herself and she wanted to be free, but she started to be held by society's view of her, Hollywood, and and I think
and her family and before that.
Yeah, and just wanting that love that she could never find. But which is sad because I think she was very beloved as an actress and like her fans adored her. Yeah. But she just wanted that. She had terrible self-esteem issues and she just wanted that love from her family. Yeah. I think it was hard to get. And then just sad to think, that she went through 2 divorces, and then finally cancer got her in the end. And
I know.
But she did so much work, like especially with her UNICEF work.
UNICEF was like her big thing at the end of her life.
She wanted to save and help the children around the world.
Which they show a lot of footage of her being with like the children of like these villages and everywhere in the world, Africa, wherever. And I think it's just skinniest children, like just so bones.
Devastating.
It's just hard. It's honestly hard to look at.
I know.
Because you're just like, man, I can't believe we let that stuff happen.
I know. And that's what she was so upset about. She's like, how are there hungry children in this day and age?
You can tell, because a lot of children were hungry when she was younger because of
she thought, this shouldn't be happening. The war is over.
Yeah.
She's like, this shouldn't be happening anymore. Like,
why is this still happening?
Why is this still going on? I've seen what this can be like, but this should be different.
Which is crazy for me to put my mindset to, because I think my whole life I've always known that. I've always known that, like, there's children around the entire world that aren't as fortunate as I was or you were, like, growing up. Mm-hmm. And to think, like, she, in her adult life, was just now discovering that, of having to go through that when she was a child and, like, what that crushing weight on her was. And probably thinking, like, why am I so privileged? Like, why is it, like, I've had a great life and yet these children just suffer? Like, they're literally just born and they suffer. You can tell that on her face, like the footage they show in between of her like smiling at people and trying to be happy, like with like the parents and stuff, and being like, "Oh, how are you? Is it okay?" And then you can tell like when she looks away, just the crushing sadness on her face. So you can tell. I'm sure in the beginning she just had to hold back tears.
Sure, she had a big heart, and I think it was just a testament to her character with how much hurt she went through. She could have easily been bitter and poisoned by that and just completely the opposite of who she ended up being. So I think I admire her for who she was as well as her works. I just thought she was a very talented actress, and I think she had more talent and range than people gave her credit for.
Definitely. Because she was in a lot of later movies, which obviously I haven't seen. I don't know what the last movie she was in. I have a feeling it was some Steven Spielberg movie with,
the very last movie she did was
Always?
It was Always.
That's it.
In 1989.
Yeah. She acted beside, Richard Dreyfuss.
Yeah, Richard Dreyfuss, Holly Hunter.
I love Richard Dreyfuss.
John Goodman. Yeah, they were all in it.
Oh, John Goodman's in it.
Yeah.
Wow, very nice.
That was the last movie she did.
Richard Dreyfuss is probably one of my favorite, like, just, he's, like, in, like, some of the greatest movies ever made. And he just, like, has this thing about him, you know? Mm-hmm. That's off subject, but, yeah. What was the other one he did? Well, he's in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Mm-hmm. And he's in Jaws.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Audrey Hepburn would just... She really just lived, I would say, a full life. I really liked... they talked about the end of her life. She had, like, a companion guy.
Yeah.
Who was that guy's name?
Was it Richard?
Maybe.
Or Robert?
But you pointed out that, like, out of the three men she was primarily with her life, like, he was the most handsome.
I thought so, personally. I'm like...
the other two guys look like goobers.
I know. I was like, compared to all of them, I thought he looked the best.
Mm-hmm.
And
he looked like, what did I say? He looked like the guy from the Dos Equis commercials.
Yeah, it's like the young, like him young.
Yeah.
Younger.
I was like, okay,
I
Audrey.
like young, but younger. Still brown.
Mm-hmm.
Not white.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was cool how they call them companions. And I was like, oh, he was her boyfriend.
Yeah.
And she's like, that's my boyfriend.
Well, I think at the time, when they did finally meet together, like, she had gone through 2 divorces. There was really no point in getting married.
And so did he. He had been through a divorce.
Been through something as well.
And apparently they, like, had a lot of heart-to-hearts about being crushed and all that.
Yeah, I think they connected on both of their struggles and tragic times they went through together.
So I think it's like they were very great companions to each other. And... I mean, obviously it makes sense that they probably never got married because it's like, why do we want to do that?
At that age, it's like, it's probably just a formality at that point for them.
Yeah, but then they probably thought like, well, what if it doesn't work out? And then we have to go through that mess again and already getting hurt by previous experiences. They're probably like, it's okay.
It's okay, yeah.
We don't need to. We know. Mm-hmm. It's okay. Yeah, but I wanted to talk more about the movie.
Yes.
Just all the stuff I enjoyed. I like the barber scene. I like when she goes in and gets her hair cut and she's just like
shorter.
Yeah, shorter. Yeah, he takes her hair and he's like, oh, just like that much,
like a trim.
Yeah, and she's just like a little more, and he like
brings up a couple inches.
Yeah, and like a little more, and he's just like, how much?
Yeah,
and didn't she shave like all of it or something, or
she got a
or she goes like this, she like grabs her hair or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, she put it kind of like up by her ears, like her neck, and she's like, all right, chop it off.
he seemed like upset about it.
Yeah, because I think he was like, this is nice hair, why are you trying to chop it all off?
Right. And he's an Italian man.
Yeah, so he's gonna be opinionated.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, he like when he's cutting her hair, he takes in like 4 big clumps and he goes off. Yeah. Like he's like very upset that he's like, oh, I can't believe you're making me do this.
I know. But then it ends up being really cute.
He makes it really nice, and like he can when he sees it, he's just like, oh, I can make this look really nice. And yeah, and then he's trying
only Audrey Hepburn could pull off that bob look.
No, she's like the original Bob. Mm-hmm. The original Bob. She's the original Bob style hair. Well, I'm sure other people had that.
I'm sure. Yeah.
It looks the best on her back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was fun, the scene that when they go dancing and these Secret Service men come to claim her back and a whole fight breaks loose, and then next thing you know, she's smashing some guy's head over with the guitar. Yeah,
and they get it on. Well, because in the movie, Joe Bradley, American Joe Bradley, his buddy, who's like kind of he's a photographer.
He's a photographer, yeah.
And he hangs out with them during the day to get pictures of her. Irving, yeah. And then when they're getting to a fight with the Secret Service man, she hits a guy over the head with a guitar.
And he missed it.
He missed the shot, and he's just like, oh, do that again.
Yeah.
Hit him again.
Hit him again.
And he takes the shot.
Yeah.
It was great. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like that stuff. I like the scene where they go to the... What was the thing? The statue with the mouth?
Oh, it was like the Statue of Truth or something like that. Something similar to that. I think that's not right, but like the Mouth of Truth or something like that. It's like this face in this wall, and Joe, Gregory Peck's character, tells this story of like if you're put your hand in the mouth and you're telling lies or something, or if you're not a truthful
person, then your hand
It
gets...
chops your hand off.
Your hand gets bit off.
So she tries to do it, and she gets, like, freaked out.
Like, she puts it in a little bit, then she's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, you do it.
You
and
do it.
He does it, and he makes it hold this whole thing, and he's, like, screaming. He's like, ah!
Yeah, he tricks her. He plays a prank on her that he acts like his hand got cut off, and yells, and then she's like, oh, my gosh.
Which, like, again, in, like, that old style Hollywood acting, it's, like, very overdramatic, so it's almost like, you feel like it's, like, this life or death situation. And she's like, how could you do that?
I know, and she's, like, hitting him. It's very flirtatious.
Yeah,
it's
very
cute.
flirtatious. Mm-hmm.
Because girls would do that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the guy tries to scare her, and you're like, oh, my, how could you? And,
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's very cute.
It is. Despite their age gap, like, because he was, like, what, 37, and she was, like, 24 at the time, or maybe even a little bit younger, probably when they filmed it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, because of her maturity and how she was, it wasn't that bad. Like, I didn't feel like robbing the cradle situation.
Yeah, again, black and white, you can kind of hide a lot of the age stuff.
Yeah.
Well, you were like, Gregory Peck, oh, he's 37. I'm like, wow, he actually looks 44.
Yeah.
Because I feel like every Hollywood actor back in the day, they all look old. Like, they all, like, 40 to 50%.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a look. They all just look
That's
mature.
just how they looked. Well, they wore suits and... Like,
except James Dean. James Dean always looked like 20.
he had, yeah.
Which, I mean, he died young anyways.
He did.
But he never looked old. Like, he looked his age, like, appropriately his age.
True.
I was going to spit out some fun facts. So I read that apparently Gregory Peck was coming off a divorce.
Yeah, he was.
And so when he went and did this movie, he actually met some lady, a French girl over
French
there.
lady. Mm-hmm.
And
Vivian, I think.
Mm-hmm. And they got married, and he was with her the rest of his life.
I know.
Isn't that sweet?
That's crazy.
I think that's kind of cool, too, how it seemed like a very important movie for him to do, you know.
Yeah.
It's the first time Audrey Hepburn, her big starring role, and he meets the love of his life. And I was kind of thinking, too, of, like, I bet that felt nice to, like, if he's coming off a bad divorce and to be acting beside Audrey Hepburn, who's
new.
Yeah,
it's probably
just a delight to be around.
Yeah, which he had this nice quote about her. Seeing her was like watching a flower bloom during her coming out during this new experience for her, being this first major film for her as leading actress, and just, you know, having her get the Oscar and everything. He knew. Which
they apparently, like, the executives knew that she was going to win. So they put her as, like, top billing.
Yeah,
to kind of
Gregory
advertise
Peck
the
was
movie.
even like, if she's going to win this, guy, you got to put her name in at the top. Like,
yeah.
Her name first.
Very noble of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially for as a male actor, to let the female go have the top.
I think, like, that's the thing about Audrey Hepburn. Even in that documentary, they make it a point to say, like, she wasn't your typical Hollywood actress.
No, like she wasn't a diva.
And and after this movie, she kind of had a lot of say over her roles. What she did, how she portrayed the role, what scenes were to be in and get cut, what she was wearing. Like, she had a big control over that stuff, which is just unheard of back then.
Yeah.
But
because I think people respected her. I think when she spoke, she educated herself on the character. She wanted to do a good job, and I think they recognized that, and I think that's allowed her to do what she wanted, because I think they respected her and trusted her to know. Yeah. So they're like, okay, like, she clearly knows what she's talking about, so let's let her do it.
And like you said, she wasn't a diva, so she wasn't like just one of those actresses who would just hang out in their trailers all day and they're like, all right, bring her out.
Yeah, or boss people around.
Yeah, or anything, like thinks that she's more important than she really isn't.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. It's like, I don't think anyone's above anyone else. I think it's just like, look, this is your job, do your job. Don't act like you're better than everybody, all right?
Right.
And then one other thing I was going to say, the Dalton Trumbo thing, who helped write the movie, which you didn't know about this.
No.
He was one of the Hollywood 10. He was blacklisted. He was a blacklisted screenwriter during like this time because it was the Cold War was going on, a lot of communist accusations being shot around, ruined a lot of people's careers, but he originally wasn't credited for the story in this. So I think that was probably a change later, like an edit in the movie. So at the beginning, it actually says story by, and he helped write the screenplay, Dalton Trumbo.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised if that wasn't there originally, because if he was blacklisted, they couldn't have his name in it.
True, yeah.
Because that would have put a bad smear on the movie. So he actually he obviously didn't win like his buddy won the Oscar for him because it actually won Best Original Story.
Mm-hmm.
So his buddy took the award for him, but then the $50,000 he was paid he gave to Dalton Trumbo. But then years later, in 1993, so years after Dalton Trumbo had died, they officially gave an award to his wife Cleo. But I guess the other guy's son didn't want to give up the Oscar because it was part of his dad's legacy, so they actually made another Oscar for Dalton Trumbo post-death. So I guess it's like the first and only time it was like 2 awards were given out for Best Original Story or something like that.
Interesting.
Because of that kind of weird situation.
Okay.
And then what was the thing you found about the poem?
Oh, yeah, Dalton Trumbo wrote this poem, like one of the first scenes with Audrey after she escapes, and she's clearly induced with that sleeping drug, so she's just saying things.
Shoot her up.
She spits off this poem when she first meets Gregory Peck's character, and the poem that she says, it sounds very eloquent, and Joe makes a comment like, "Oh, well, you're well read." So you think it's some very famous poem from famous literary artist, and then you come to find out that, then with this, he actually wrote it.
Dalton Trumbo.
Dalton Trumbo wrote it. It wasn't like Aristotle or anything.
I think
like
that's
that.
funny. I feel like that seemed like something his character would do. Very, I don't want to say egotistical, but probably just like, I'm not going to look up a poem. I'm just going to write one. Screw it. Like, I don't have time to look up a poem.
Yeah.
An old poem to make her sound smart. I'm just going to write one.
Right.
That's funny. But the only other thing actually I did want to say, I have so many things I want to say. No. But just, I wrote this note here because since they actually filmed in Italy, so they're the scenes where they're like on the scooter and they're like making a havoc around town and they're like going through like little outside cafes and all this, and like the people's reaction, like the extras are very Italian.
Yeah,
like they have the big hand gesture. Yeah, they're like, "Hey, what's the big deal?" You can just see it. I'm Italian, so it's okay. I can see this if anyone's getting upset right now. But they're like, "Hey, what's the potato?" And I was like, you can tell that everyone's Italian here.
Yeah.
They make it very apparent.
Yeah.
But Italians also, they want you to know that they're Italian. They make it apparent that, like, hey, I'm Italian. They're like, all right, cool, I don't care.
Well, I think just some final remark I think I want to say with this film is I think I really liked the characters, and I really liked Audrey's acting, specifically at the end of the film when, clearly she has to go back to being a princess, and they go back, they had to say goodbye and do their, and leave each other. They had this final scene where she addresses the press, and that's how she finds out, because he shows up there as a reporter.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she just does so much acting with her, like, portraying these emotions with her face without doing much.
Right.
She doesn't have to say anything, but she showed so much emotion through her face and her eyes and everything, which you knew exactly what she was feeling without her having to say anything at all.
Exactly.
And I think that was a testament to her talent.
Yes, I agree.
So I think that's kind of
very subtle, yeah.
Yeah, like but you felt everything
just
from her mannerisms, her eye. Like, she didn't have to oversell it. It was enough that you knew exactly what this character is feeling in that moment. So I think
very good.
Yeah, so I think she was just a very good actress, and I think everybody should see her movies.
And I'm sad she's still not around.
And I'm sad she's dead.
Yeah.
But all right, babe. So I guess now's the time to
tell the audience what we're going to do next.
Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Zack Snyder's Justice
We're doing Zack Snyder's Justice League. Like, I know everyone's talking about it right now, and I saw it, and I know I'm on record in our Yuckathon episode of saying, I don't care how this movie is, but I gotta tell you, I was wrong. This was probably one of my favorite superhero movies I've seen in a while. So having said that, we're going to do Yumathon number 1, where we will go into Zack Snyder's Justice League, and we're going to do we'll do a little comparison, because you haven't seen the theatrical cut.
Yeah.
So we're going to watch that, and we'll do a little compare and talk about it and everything. So yeah, that's what we're doing.
All right.
I'm excited.
Well, everybody, hopefully you guys will tune in for this Yumathon with us, and if you want to watch that movie before we do the Yumathon,
set aside some time.
Hours. It's 4 hours, so be mindful of that. But if you guys would like to check out our podcast, write a review on Apple Podcasts, we would love to hear from you guys. Or give us a like on Instagram or our Facebook. Send us an email at don'tyuckmyyumpod@gmail.com. And we will see you guys next week.
See you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.